92.7 FM. The show is Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. I am not Sam Jordan. I am Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan, who is under the weather today. So you're going to get a little overtime action with Keon Rose. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. You're going to get this, then you're going to get me again next hour. Because, I want to keep up the sports block. The doubleheader that we have going on here, even though this is not a doubleheader, this is just one really long game. And you're stuck. But hopefully you don't feel stuck, because I got a lot to talk about. And a lot of this does involve the Super Bowl, because it is Super Bowl week. Super Bowl 52 is coming up this Sunday, Patriots, Eagles. And we've got a lot of prop bets. Have you noticed that? We've got a ton of prop bets. And I feel like the prop bet thing is kind of a cancer. Look, part of it is that I myself am not a gambling man. Okay, I don't gamble. I don't bet on anything. In large part because I feel like that's something I could get addicted to very easily. I have that kind of personality. Also, I think I'm arrogant enough to think that I'm right always. And if I feel that way, I will undoubtedly lose more money than I should ever be losing. I'm not rich. So, there's no good reason. I'm not Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley. You hear the wildest stories about what happens when those guys go to Vegas, or their poker stories. The Michael Jordan poker stories are insane. Michael Jordan's taking people's cars. I'm not a betting man. I cannot do this. I do not have the proper personality or the money to offset not having the right personality. So I stay away from this. But I do look at betting lines in sports. You can't help it. When you're trying to figure out who is going to win a football game or a basketball game or whatever game, it is actually a little interesting to know who it is that Vegas thinks is going to win, because a lot of it is public opinion, right? Public betting shifts the line, but it tends to be accurate enough. It's not perfect, but it's accurate enough. And if you look at that, you can go, okay, that actually makes a ton of sense, right? But the prop bets are all the bets surrounding the football game. And I know that this is, by the way, the most trite sports radio thing that there is, right? The prop bet discussion. I'm not here to talk about what prop bets you want. I want to find the person who started this mess so that I can talk to them sternly. Because I don't advocate violence. Talk to them sternly. All this stuff, it's ridiculous. There are too many Super Bowl prop bets. And I mean, there are prop bets for everything. Let's start with the national anthem, right? I remember when I was a kid, I remember always hearing about the prop bet. Well, how long will the national anthem be? Will it be over or under 2 minutes? How long will it be? And I remember always hearing about that prop bet and hearing people go, oh, well, that's a very interesting one. And it's sort of like a flip of a coin, or you try and figure out, well, who's the singer, which it's Pink this year for the Super Bowl. And you try and go, well, yeah, it's Pink. I feel like she could be long-winded enough. She might go for 2 minutes. But we have, what color will Pink's hair be when she starts to sing the national anthem? Will Pink be airborne at any point during her singing of the national anthem? Will she forget or omit a word? Which Pink's a pro. I don't think that that's going to happen. But will she forget a word in the national anthem as she sings the national anthem? Right? This is silly. All the prop bets, the prop bets surrounding the halftime show. What color will Justin Timberlake's shoes be? Will he be wearing a hat? Will he do a cover of a Prince song? Maybe, but why does it matter? Will any members from NSYNC perform? Probably not, right? How many times will Janet Jackson be mentioned during the broadcast? The over-under is 1.5 times. That bet actually is a very interesting bet. I would take the over if I were a betting man, which I have mentioned that I am not. I'm just saying I would take the over on that. That's free advice. That's a freebie. Toss that out there for you. They're going to mention it before the halftime show. Someone's going to mention it after the halftime show, and that'll be over 1.5 times. How many times will Tom Brady's age be mentioned during the broadcast? How many times will Giselle be shown? Well, she's a very beautiful person, so probably lots of times. The over-under is at 1.5 even, which, okay, really? They can't show her half a time. I don't even know what that means. During halftime does not count. No, they'll probably show her close to the end of the game multiple times if the game's close. Will Terrell Owens be mentioned during the broadcast? Because that was the last time the Eagles were even in the Super Bowl. Probably. But where did these bets come from, right? And I was trying to look it up. I was trying to find the person who unleashed this scourge of prop bets on all of us. And I couldn't really find a single person, but there is a guy, right? Like there is a single guy that is in charge of gathering all of the prop bets from year to year. His name is I forget his first name. His last name is Laurelette, but he's the guy that's in charge for gathering all 400 prop bets. There's 400 prop bets. That's too many. Does that not seem like too many? It seems like too many to me. That's insane. And what kind of gambling addict do you have to be? Because I understand you could take 1 or 2 prop bets in good fun. Like I'm not like, just a stick in the mud. I'm just saying you could take 1 or 2 in good fun. But like, I know that there's a guy that's got 80 prop bets and he's trying to figure out how he can maximize on his betting, right? Because it's tough to bet on the game. The Patriots are going to win the game, right? Like not we're all, but most of you all are rooting for the Eagles because people like the underdog and nobody likes the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots, but I hate the Eagles on a personal level, on a deeply personal level. I can't root for the Eagles. You couldn't give me money to root for that team, right? Like I have a number of money that it would take, like a price point that it would take for you to get me to root for the Eagles, but you don't have it. You don't have that money offhand. Yeah, there's a number. There's a number for everything. Right? I'm not crazy. There is a number for everything. You could pay me to root for the Eagles, but you don't have that money. Right. So I'm not rooting for the Eagles. I say you all to suggest that majority of people that are not me will be rooting for the Eagles. But that's a tough game to bet on. It's one thing to root. It's another thing to bet. And I wouldn't bet against Tom Brady against an Eagles team that's missing their starting quarterback. Yes, Nick Foles has been good. No, he's not Carson Wentz. And I'm not going to take that. So you've got to do all the other prop bets if you're a gambling addict, I imagine. You have to. You don't have a choice. And there is some junkie that's going through all 400 prop bets to see, well, I put a couple bucks on the anthem, and I put a couple of bucks on the halftime show, and I put a couple more bucks on the Giselle thing. Who knows? I might come out with a net gain on that one. And to that, I have to say, seek help, man. You gotta get that gambling addiction under control. I'm addicted to a lot of things, but like video games, man, and sports. I'm not addicted to things that cost me money exponentially over time. Right? Like I buy one game, and more importantly, I lose my time when I play games, and I lose them. Like I'm not gonna lose my money. Let's be reasonable here. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com, 92.7 FM. It's Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. I'm Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. So if you like Sam Jordan, he'll be back tomorrow. If you like me, it's more of me. You really can't go wrong with any of this. So what I want to talk about here, because there's a little, and we're going to take a darker turn a little bit later, because I got to talk about the Michigan State Larry Nassar sexual abuse stuff. I talked about it a little bit before, but there is some extra part of it that I'd like to get into. But before we get into the stuff that's not fun, why can't LSU develop a quarterback? Right? We've all wondered it. We've wondered this forever. LSU cannot develop a quarterback. And why can't they? Because The state of Louisiana's got about 51 guys in the NFL. They produce talent. LSU is a very talented school. And the state of Louisiana is a very talented state when it comes to producing football players. So my question is, of all the teams in the SEC, why can't LSU specifically develop quarterbacks? Why not? Why can't they find them? Why can't they develop them in that talent pool that they have? Right? It's at this point laughable. And maybe not even at this point. Maybe it's been laughable. It's more laughable now than it's ever been. This team developed quarterbacks. And SEC Country, Alex Hickey, the writer for SEC Country who covers LSU for Sports Blog, he's done a great job of sort of breaking down a theory why, right? Which is that for whatever reason, the state of Louisiana is not producing quarterbacks, right? And he went all the way back to 2008 to take a look at all the SEC schools, all the states, and how many of these states have produced quarterbacks and how many of these states have been able to sign a 4-star quarterback or higher in state, right? Florida has produced 25 4-star or 5-star quarterbacks. They've signed 8 of them. Now, I mean, Florida's had their struggles at the quarterback position too, but it's not anywhere near as bad as what LSU has going on, right? Like Texas, and we're not going all the way back to 2008 for Texas A&M. We're going back to 2012 for both Texas A&M and Missouri because that's the year that they joined the SEC. But when you look at those schools, the state of Texas has produced 22-star quarterbacks, 10 of them signed in state. Georgia's produced 15 and 5 have signed in state. Alabama's produced 6 and 2 has signed in state. Louisiana's produced 4 or 5-star quarterbacks since 2008. So it's been 10 years. Only 3 of them have signed in state. And who are the 3? Because you know them. It's Brandon Harris. I mean, come on, man. They haven't been able to find him. They haven't been able to find him. Jordan Jefferson and Brandon Harris. Those are 2 of the 3 guys you know. Right? Then they signed Zach Mettenberger out of state. Danny Etling was a transfer. And then they missed on some, right? Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was a 3-star. So when there are 4 or 5 stars, they don't pan out too much. And the guys that actually do pan out, they don't go to LSU. So part of it seems to be a problem with scouting, right? Like a problem with actually figuring out who are the top recruits in this state. Because it's not like Dak Prescott left the SEC. He stayed in your same league and beat you. He stayed in your same league and was a very successful player and is currently a starting quarterback in the NFL. So you could have had a guy with that big play potential. Now, part of it is Mississippi State did a great job of developing Dak Prescott. Right? Like they do a great job of developing players. And so, like, if Dak Prescott had gone to LSU, let's say, is he as good as if he goes to Dan Mullen? Dan Mullen, who's got a reputation of developing quarterbacks and making them players that actually can play at the next level. And not just quarterbacks, by the way. Dan Mullen's developed all kinds of 3-star athletes. But the miss rate on this is insane. The state of Louisiana since 2008 has produced 5 quarterbacks of that caliber. 3 of them actually signed in state. And of the 3 that signed in state, none of the 3 panned out to be anything you care about. How is that possible? right? Like part of it you can blame on Les Miles, right? Les Miles has just got a big hand in this because he didn't care about offense. Not only did he not care about offense, he wouldn't hire an offensive guy to just come in and do his thing, right? Like he was still somehow overbearing and controlling, and at the same time, uncaring of the offensive side of the ball. And it seems silly to me that you could be both of those things. And I think that that's definitely held LSU back. Graphically is keeping players away from being quarterbacks. My guess is this, and someone can call and correct me if I'm wrong. Our phone number is 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. But because the players in Louisiana, and this, again, it's just a guess, are so athletic, you put them everywhere, right? Like you have those guys do as many different things as you can have them do. And we've seen this happen at a lot of high schools where there's just like one star guy. That guy returns kicks. That guy can be the quarterback, wide receiver, DB, linebacker, whatever you ask him to be, he's that. And I think that takes away from a guy's pure development as a quarterback. My problem with that theory is everybody in the whole state. Right? Like there are some guys that have a strong arm and really slow feet. They couldn't be anything but a quarterback. Like no disrespect to Jake Fromm, who isn't slow, but that guy's not fast. Jake Fromm, if he weren't a quarterback at Georgia, would not be a player, right? He's not fast enough to do any of the other things at all. Right? And I don't know how good his hands are. So I can't tell you whether or not he'd be a wide receiver. He's certainly not beating you on speed. I think LSU, or not LSU, but the state of Louisiana produces a lot of players and a lot of talent. And the talent that they focus on the most are not the kinds of guys who could just be a quarterback if they couldn't run. But I'm saying if you've got that level of athletic talent, how come you're not producing more Lamar Jacksons and Robert Griffin IIIs? That's my thing, is you could at least get these guys that are highly successful college quarterbacks because they can beat you with their feet and their arm. Get a guy that makes relatively good decisions. Give him a big-time wide receiver. And by the way, big-time wide receivers have passed through LSU. This is the thing that I find to be the most alarming, is that you've also had the big-time wide receivers. Odell Beckham Jr. went to LSU. The old dirty Beckham. How is that possible? Right? Like literally, think about this. How is this possible that you had a basically the biggest star wide receiver in the league, in the National Football League, pass through your university, and no quarterback benefited from having that guy because you were that bad at quarterback? It's alarming. There isn't a really good working theory for why it is that school has been as bad at quarterback as they have been. But can you imagine if they ever had one? Because, and I've been saying this for years, like there are certain schools to me, they're really a quarterback away, right? I thought Georgia was a quarterback away. I thought Jacob Eason was going to make the leap and bring them into it. I had no idea that Jake Fromm could do it too. But I thought, Jacob Eason was going to make some kind of leap and bring Georgia closer to it. I thought Florida was a guy away, and Florida going after Malik Zaire and then never playing him. That seems problematic. But I looked at Florida and I thought Florida's a quarterback away, and LSU is another one of those schools. They're a quarterback away, but LSU is not a quarterback away from being kind of good. LSU is a quarterback away from being dominant. Right? Like I liked Jarrett Stidham going to Auburn, but I didn't think that Auburn was going to turn over and become a gigantic juggernaut of a school because they added Jarrett Stidham. I mean, they did. They became a very difficult team to beat and a monster. But I didn't think that just because they added Jarrett Stidham, that was going to be that. I feel that way about LSU, though. I feel like if LSU gets the kind of talent at the quarterback position, that is that elite level guy that we're talking, he maybe flirts with second, third, even first round of the NFL draft kind of talent. That team is dominant, and I don't know if anyone outside of Alabama is a shoo-in to beat them. I don't. Anyway, we're going to talk more about Gus Malzahn because I like to start the hot seat conversation early because I am spicy, and that's the way I like to do it. So we're going to get to that in a second. Clutch with Keon Rose on all new Nooga Radio, noogaradio.com, 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
An axe-wielding burglar wanted in Sale Creek. The County Mart convenience store was ransacked at 3 a.m. yesterday morning, and the police need your help tracking down the burglar. Surveillance video captured frames of the man wielding an axe, rooting through the store and stealing several $1,000s worth of cigarettes while dealing thousands more in damage. If you have any info, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office would like you to call. Daylight savings forever? State Representative Rick Tulis, whose district includes parts of Marion and Franklin counties, has introduced a bill to make daylight savings time permanent in Tennessee. If the bill is passed, Tennessee would never go back an hour again. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nooga Radio. That's The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nooga Radio. Val St. John, Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, News Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val, weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
$25 goes by quickly these days, and 25 cents still just a quarter. 25 is the years of experience Schultz & Associates puts behind filing your tax return quickly, correctly, and electronically. Schultz & Associates.
Hi, I'm Chip Chapman. The IRS set some special dates this year regarding filing your taxes. It all may make filing a little more confusing this year. The professionals at Schultz & Associates can answer your questions about multiple incomes, income from rental property, special circumstances involving your children or family. Call Schultz & Associates 899-1130 and arrange an appointment to work out the details of your tax return. Schultz & Associates, 6310 Bonnie Oaks Drive.
Baseball sluggers often wear the number 25, or 25 is a full MLB roster. Just happens 25 is also the years of experience Schultz & Associates puts behind filing your tax return quickly, correctly, and electronically. Schultz & Associates, 899-1130.
Oh, man, rush. I've got to get stuff for the party. Where can I go that's going to give me a wide selection of beer, wines, and spirits? Oh, I've got it. I'll go to Harry's Wine and Spirits, Signal Mountain. Maybe East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd. I could go to Riley's Wines and Spirits in Hickson. Wow, look at the huge selection in here. Look at these great prices. Amazing. Oh, yeah. I'm going to find something for my lady, too. I'm going to make this party a success.
Make your party a success when you stop in at Harry's Wine and Spirits in Signal Mountain, East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd, and Riley's Wine and Spirits in Hickson. An automated nuclear missile defense system has suddenly entered into launch mode, and you are the only one who can stop it. Escape Experience Chattanooga. Your team has just been infected with a deadly virus. Your only hope? There, in an abandoned farmhouse. Escape Experience Chattanooga. Handcuffed in a maximum security prison, you have an hour to flee. Escape Experience Chattanooga. These escape scenarios and more at Chattanooga's best escape room, game, and team building platform. Call now. Slots are limited. Register online at escapeexperience.com/Chattanooga. Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Light cold, highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nooga Radio, 92.7 Sports Now.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. I am not Sam Jordan. I'm Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan today. Sam Jordan usually takes the wheel here from 7 to 8. And then I follow him with Clutch with Keon Rose from 8 to 9. So we've got a double header going on. But no, today you get a lot more of me. And, you know, I hope you think that's fun. I hope you think it's fun because first off, we got a lot of Super Bowl stuff to talk about. Talked about the prop bets. I think those are silly. There's 400 prop bets. And at what point do you look at this and go, oh no, that entire situation is run amok. That entire situation is beyond ridiculous. When you have 400 prop bets, when did you not think it was too many at 300 prop bets? How about 200? How about 150? No, we just kept piling them on. And I mean, they're the silliest things. What color is Pink's hair going to be? My guess, pink. Right. Is Justin Timberlake going to have a hat in the halftime show? Who cares? And this is all to trap some gambling junkie into gambling more than he should. But anyway, let's shift gears to college football because I like to have the hot seat conversation in these sorts of things very early. The hot seat conversation being who's the guy that's going to get fired first in the SEC. And you got to look around and you got to go, well, Kirby Smart can't possibly. He's saved up, right? Unless Georgia comes out and wins nothing, which is unlikely because that team's still great. Though we have to figure out how they're going to replace that running production from Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. That team's still fantastic. Like that team is brilliant. Alabama, obviously, Nick Saban has the safest job in sports, arguably. It's him and Bill Belichick and Greg Popovich. Those three guys. I mean, there's no hot seat conversation with those people. So everybody else is kind of, Jeremy Pruitt's new, so you think he's safe. Dan Mullen, new situation. You think he's safe. Brett Bielema is gone, by the way. Brett Bielema got $12 million to go away. We'll talk about that in a second. But you got to think that Gus Malzahn's got the hottest job in the SEC, right? I think so. Because Gus Malzahn is the $49 million man. And, you know, my mom told me to get a better job because my mom believes in me. Let me not say this like my mom does not believe in my talents and my abilities. My mom said, though, why don't you do a job that makes money? Which is smart. Thanks, Mom. But I like doing radio. I like doing radio to the point where I don't mind being broke for a little bit. I'll deal with it, right? Like I'll put up with it. But the thing that like really just blows my mind on all of this stuff is $49 million over 7 years is so much money. Mom, why didn't you tell me to be a football coach? That I would have done that job. I would have tried very hard to do that job. $49 million? Yeah. Gus Malzahn's seat is hot. And the reason why his seat is hot is because they're not going to try and pay you all $49 million of those dollars if they even sniff that you can't win. Now, Auburn's very good, right? Like that's part of it. Auburn is a very good football team, so it's unlikely that Auburn's going to wind up in a ton of trouble. Jarrett Stidham has been a revelation for that team at the quarterback position, and I thought that he fit for Auburn as the year went on. He got more comfortable running the football in Gus Malzahn's system, and Gus got more comfortable with Stidham throwing the ball. Like it was a mutual relationship, and I thought it got better as the season went on. It was kind of rocky early, and honestly, they don't lose to Clemson. They probably make the playoff, you think. And so, yeah, I look at Auburn and I go, this is a good situation. This is a team that's likely to succeed. But Gus Malzahn has shown us time and time again that he can snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. He absolutely can. He's shown us this on multiple occasions. You don't just blindly trust Gus Malzahn. So, yeah, the $49 million over 7 years thing is a little bit off-putting. It's a little bit alarming. And if he's not great, right? Like, this is not a situation where Gus Malzahn gets to be good, because he's been good. Good isn't good enough for Auburn. You share the same state with Alabama, who continues to win national titles. Good's not good enough anymore because you have to now actually pay attention to whoever it is that's coming out of the east of the SEC, whether it be Georgia, whether it be Dan Mullen rebuilding Florida. You have to pay attention to that now. Good's not good enough, man. They paid you $49 million over 7 years to be great. And if Gus Malzahn's not great, we're not seeing him for all 7 of those years. Right now, I think he's safe during the Jarrett Stidham time. I honestly believe that Jarrett Stidham is a good enough, quality enough quarterback. Hey, he might be safe next year. If Jarrett Stidham decides to go to the NFL draft, though, I actually worry about Gus Malzahn. He's not going to be there for all 7 years. I find that difficult to believe. I find it difficult to believe. But just on the basis of we watch this man maintain a consistent quarterback carousel for the greater part of 3 years and could not find a guy. Right? It's only a miracle that Jarrett Stidham transferred over. He wasn't recruiting anybody. I can tell you that. Right? Like, as far as somebody who is going out there and finding quality quarterbacks, and again, we talked about this a little bit last segment with LSU. I don't know necessarily how you find him. All I know is you're not finding him. Whoever it is that's that elite level quarterback. Right? Like, God forbid anything happened to Jarrett Stidham. It is a wrap. That $49 million can disappear like that. Now, I imagine he's got a massive buyout in the contract, I'm sure. But he ain't going to be there for all 7 years of this. That's for sure. And speaking of a guy who is not making it to the end of his contract, or did not make it to the end of his contract, Brett Bielema in Arkansas. The buyout for Brett Bielema revealed to be $12 million. Now, I like the buyout of contracts. I had a friend that said, what is your dream job? What is the job if you could do any job in the world? Right? And we were trying to think of what is the most bogus job you can do and make the most money. The most bogus job you can do and make the most money is be a college football coach after your contract gets bought out. Brett Bielema is going to make $12 million to not coach football. Okay. And that is the best job on this planet. Is the job where you were so unsatisfactory at coaching football, they're going to pay you to not do it there anymore. And I just have to say to the University of Arkansas, I'm available. I am also available to not coach football for you. In fact, I'm doing it right now. Where's my $12 million? That's really where I'm at. I also would like $12 million to not coach football, as I am currently doing that, and doing it amazingly, might I add. I am a pro at not coaching football, unless you count yelling from my couch. Yelling from my couch at my football team that disappoints me always, right? Unless you count that, that's not really coaching, though. That's all I'm saying. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com, Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. This is not Sam Jordan. Obviously, this is Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. Sam Jordan is feeling a little bit under the weather today. He'll be back tomorrow from 7 to 8. It's his usual spot. He's been, he braved it out. I don't know if you've heard the minute sports updates during the break. Sam Jordan being a soldier, doing what he can, but he couldn't make it today. So I'm holding down the fort at the moment. So I want to talk about Michigan State, Larry Nassar, and the sexual abuse case that's been growing in large part, because there's two angles to this that I really want to talk about, right? The first one is everyone pretending that Michigan State is the worst university in college sports for allowing Larry Nassar to exist and not reprimanding him. And in some cases, even enabling him. And by the way, I am not condoning that on any level. That is monstrous that they allowed Larry Nassar to abuse all the young women that he did. Absolutely monstrous. And there's no excuse for it at all. at all. I don't think that we're not fighting over that, right? You can't defend Larry Nassar. That guy's a monster. You put that guy in a hole, you throw away the hole, right? Like, that's not even an issue of debate. Where I'm a little upset about this is we're not learning our lesson. We're not learning our lesson that this is not something that is restricted to Michigan State. Sexual abuse is not something that only happens on the campus of Michigan State. It happens on college campuses all over the place with all kinds of people. And the investigation into Michigan State and whether or not they provided a culture of sexual abuse. And this is a lesson that I had to learn during the Baylor stuff, by the way, when Art Briles had players who were committing acts of sexual violence on campus, and he simply looked the other way, or he tried to cover it up in order to have a good and winning football team, which is reprehensible behavior and disgusting at best. At best, right? And the fact that Art Briles can't ever coach football again is the best thing that has happened. That could have happened from that scenario. That guy does not deserve to coach football again, right? For allowing to happen what he allowed to happen actively. Where I learned my lesson from that, though, is this idea that somehow Baylor is the only place that happened. It's not. And we're here again. Larry Nassar, absolutely monstrous. And we should have learned it with Penn State. When we had a number of young boys being sexually abused by one of the coaches, and Joe Paterno didn't do enough. Right? And all of those people are to blame for their actions. But let's not act like this is something that is restricted to Penn State, Baylor, and now Michigan State. It's something that can and is happening, I guarantee it right now, at a number of college universities. And if you don't start taking it seriously as a phenomena that is happening everywhere, you're going to be surprised every single time that it happens. Just, oh, what? I can't believe that it's happening here. That's what everybody says because their eyes aren't open and they're not as vigilant as they should be. And that's problematic. This stuff does not just fall out of the sky. You have to be on top of it. And you have to, if you're a college administrator or if you're a student, right? Like anybody that's at a university or going to a university right now, understand that whether or not you're a student, a teacher, an administrator, you're all complicit in what happens there. And you all have a little bit of the responsibility for making sure that your campus is not the kind of campus where this is the kind of thing that can happen. If someone is telling you that sexual abuse is happening to them, you have to take them seriously. You have to get that person to talk to the police. You take people seriously in situations like this. And it's little moments of, well, they're not going to believe me that cause these things to get buried under the table. And it's not going to stop if we pretend like Michigan State is the place that needs to get shut down. It's happening more places than just that. Right? And the other angle of this that I really wanted to talk about, you're listening to Sport Talk with Sam Jordan here on all new Nooga Radio and NoogaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. But there was a male gymnast. His name is Andrew Fuller, who's come out and he said that he was abused. He was a victim of USA Gymnastics. And that he spent time to live with Dr. George Noory, and he was asked to do a number of humiliating things. He was called a number of humiliating names, some of which I hesitate to say on the air because I don't want the FCC coming after me. But let's just say that they were not good and leave them there. And he felt sexually humiliated and he was drugged, he claims, and tattooed against his will. And again, a lot of this stuff does have to be checked. Right? I'm not saying just because you should believe somebody that you don't verify that they're telling the truth. But if this guy's telling the truth, I mean, this is monstrous. This is absolutely monstrous. And the thing that I'm hung up on is the Me Too movement, right? Where a lot of women have come out and admitted abuse that maybe they were too ashamed to admit or that they were afraid to admit, and I applaud their bravery. But I also read an article a couple of weeks ago, and it was about the whole Aziz Ansari thing, but it was about men trying to support the Me Too movement and the Time's Up movement. And essentially, the article read something along the lines of, men need to be more educated when they try and be supportive in these movements, because don't they know that all these movements are about them? And that's like men are the monsters that make this thing happen. Really? No, because men can be the victims too. And by the way, women can be the perpetrators. We've got to stop acting like sexual abuse and sexual violence is something that happens to just women. It does happen to women. And I'm not crazy. I can see numbers. I can do the math. It disproportionately happens to women. And we should do something about that. But there are male victims of this crime. Right? And I just happen to notice that this is not necessarily a story that has gotten a ton of press. Maybe it's new, it's fresh. It may grow legs in the coming days, but this isn't something that everyone's talking about. And I can't help but wonder if the victim is male and if that plays any part of it, because I think it does. And that's not to say that there isn't anything that causes us to go back the other way, right? Because when all the Penn State stuff was happening, and we found out that Jerry Sandusky was abusing little boys, there's something about the abuse of little boys that I think, and this isn't just my own opinion, I think ESPN's Bomani Jones put it a whole lot better than I did, but there is a certain level of the abuse of little boys that just, it feels more disgusting somehow. People react to it like it's more disgusting. So I have to take that as the truth, right? Like I have to take what people are actually doing, your actions, and more so than your words. People act like it's more disgusting. And honestly, it's equally as disgusting. And so there are stigmas there, is my point. It's pervasive, right? And I think that this guy, being a man, coming out and saying, look, I was victimized and I was sexually humiliated. I don't know. Because, I mean, and especially by a person in a position of power, in a position of authority, I don't know if that's why this story has not taken off the way that I would have thought it would have. But he put this post on, I want to say it was on Twitter. He put it on Twitter, and he said, "Me Too is not just for women. I'm a male victim of USA Gymnastics." And again, very brave of him to come out and do this. Because it's something that it does wind up being humiliating for men in a very specific kind of way, because of the way our society tells us that we have to be, and that we have to be strong, and that you can't be a victim of a sexual crime, right? Like there's a really good Dave Chappelle joke about this serial rapist that was going around in Houston raping men, and the guy never got caught because men, well, the Dave Chappelle joke went that men would just, if he ever did rape them, they would just kind of walk it off and go home. And you would rather tell the lie that you were cheating, was the punchline of the joke. You'd rather tell the lie that you were cheating than say that you got raped. And while that, like when Chappelle tells it, obviously it's funnier than when I tell it. But when you hear that, you do feel a little bit in your stomach, right? Like that, whatever that feeling that makes that sound, that feeling, you get that in your stomach because that's true. Right? Like if that ever happened to you, are you telling anybody? Because I'm telling you, I'm not. I know that takes a lot of courage, because I imagine myself in that guy's shoes, and I'm telling you that I don't say anything to anybody. And I don't, because there is a legitimate and actual fear there that no one's going to believe me, that I'm going to be made a mockery of for allowing this to happen to me. It's rough, man. That's a tough spot to be in. And if you have the courage to come out and say something in that situation, look, I more power to you. But I would like us to look at the full scope of this and look at how it affects us all as a society. And if you start to pick sides and go, well, women have it worse or men have it worse, then we're never going to take the full look at this, that this actually requires. And that's going to put us in a very bad situation when we try and figure out how to resolve a lot of these situations, how to make it so that it's actually easier for victims to come forward. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. You're on 92.7 FM. Sport Talk with Sam Jordan. I'm Keon Rose filling in for Sam Jordan. Next up, Clutch with Keon Rose. So I'll be back next hour.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
An axe-wielding burglar is wanted in Sale Creek. He's accused of stealing from the County Mart convenience store at 3 a.m. yesterday morning. Surveillance video captured frames of the man wielding an axe, rooting through the store, and stealing several $1,000s worth of cigarettes while dealing several $1,000s worth of damage. Hamilton County Sheriff's Office is trying to track him down. After the brawl that broke out on Saturday, the TSSAA's made the decision to suspend both the Brainerd and Austin East boys basketball teams for the remainder of the season. Darian Battle from Austin is accused of punching Jalen Woodford. Charges may be filed, and one student had to be hospitalized. Holman Harrison, a total loss. A blaze on Morning Glory Road broke out early in the morning, costing about $100,000, according to Fire Chief Harris. He said the home is completely destroyed. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7. Now.
Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Tulis, streaming strong at NoogaRadio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
At Christian Brothers, $34.95 will get you an oil change and a free car wash. That's Christian Brothers Automotive in Hickson. Is your car broken down or about to be? Well, who do you trust? Don't go any farther than Christian Brothers Automotive in Hickson. It's all about trust. It's all about relationship. At Christian Brothers Automotive, no more waiting around. Take advantage of the free shuttle service from Christian Brothers Automotive with only quality auto parts. No cutting corners at Christian Brothers Automotive in Hickson. And remember, an oil change is only $34.95 and you get a free car wash.
So you forgot something that sparkles, a little bit of bling for Christmas? Valentine's is just ahead, so now's your chance to get it right. And Goss Company Jewelers has got you covered. Diamond stud earrings, rings, hoops, necklaces. Go now while you're thinking about it. Let Charlie Goss wait on you. He'll take care of you. Problem solved. Custom diamond studs start at under $200. That's 30% off. Goss Company Jewelers behind Chili's on Gun Barrel. That's it. Goss Company Jewelers.
Pulse Centers of Chattanooga offers non-medical solutions to your body's problems using a state-of-the-art technology called pulsed electromagnetic fields, PEMF for short. We help fuel the body's natural healing response. If you're tired of taking harmful, addictive drugs that only dull your pain and cause awful side effects, the knowledgeable, friendly staff at Pulse Centers can help you end that cycle.
Call to schedule a free whole body assessment at 423-771-7755. That's 423-771-7755.
Smells so good. It's like one big Italiano dinner. But you're going to walk away with two pizzas. Two pizzas for the price of one. Mangia. Rico's Pizzeria, my favorite Italian restaurant of all time. You get so much food on your plate. It's like taller than the Tower of Pizza. Wider than your mama. Rico's Italian Restaurant and Pizzeria. Hickson Pike next to McDonald's, front of Calvary Chapel. $7.50 lunch on Sunday special. Manja, saluta.
95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows 22 to 25. For Wednesday, after a frosty start, lots of sunshine, a little warmer for the afternoon, highs lower in the middle 50s. Increasing clouds Wednesday night with showers returning from the west on Thursday. The night skiing is still good at Cloudmont Ski Resort. Come on down to Mentone, Alabama to Cloudmont, just a short drive away. Great winter fun for the whole family. For details and conditions, cloudmont.com. And I'm Source Sheet, Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
Martin Truex Jr. is off the pace and he is headed to the pit lane. Elliott Powers around the outside. Michael McDowell pops the right front tire. Here's Martin Truex to the bottom. Blaney's walked him off too. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott went 4 wide on the back straightaway. They're side by side for the lead.
Hear it live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, 95.3 HD4.
The voice of NASCAR.
Charge!
Get back there, you dang Yankee! Great horny toads, I'm up north. Gotta burn my boots, they touched Yankee soil. Lay down your arms and step forward, Yankee!
What's the hassle, Schmear?
WBLZ HD4 Ottawa, W224AZ Chattanooga,
92.7 Digital FM 95.3 HD4
Chattanooga.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Grasshopper.
I'm Steve Dorsey, live on Capitol Hill, where President Trump will deliver his first State of the Union address, focusing on the economy, infrastructure, and immigration. But a low bar for the president, according to American University professor Alan Lichtman.
If he doesn't come out with anything offensive, if he doesn't come out with a big whopping lie or lies, he's probably done well in the speech.
A number of Democrats plan to skip the speech, including John Lewis and Maxine Waters. Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin.
I will go there out of respect for the office of the President of the United States, though I clearly disagree with President Trump on many important issues.
I'm Steve Dorsey, live on Capitol Hill, now with more CBS News. Here's Pam Coulter.
President Trump was expected to tout a surging stock market tonight, but stocks took it on the chin today, the Dow plummeting 362 points. CBS's Jill Schlesinger says investors were rattled by the new healthcare partnership involving Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, and J.P. Morgan Chase.
The three companies will try to contain rising healthcare costs. In essence, they will try to kill off what Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett called the hungry tapeworm on the American economy.
3 people were killed after a helicopter crashed into a home near a Southern California airport. This man saw the injured pilot on the lawn.
There was 3 other people in it, and we tried to pry him out, but we didn't want to touch him. We didn't want to take a chance of hurting anybody.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott is launching a criminal investigation after some women said they were sexually assaulted at a gymnastics training facility.
Governor Abbott called the sexual assault allegations gut-wrenching, and it's why he called on the Texas Rangers to ensure that no stone was left unturned at the Caroli Ranch. USA Gymnastics has since cut ties with the ranch. Indiana attorney Deborah Daniels investigated USA Gymnastics for a year. She thinks cutting ties is good, and so is the investigation.
After, in particular, Simone Biles made the statement that she too was victimized and has trouble going back to the place where she was victimized, I was pleased to see how quickly they acted.
Daniels called for 70 policy changes regarding sexual abuse. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
The Philadelphia Eagles are in Minnesota preparing for the Super Bowl. Nick Foles will play in place of injured quarterback Carson Wentz.
I'm grateful to be in the Super Bowl with these guys, and obviously Tom Brady, one of the greatest to play the game. So I'm excited to compete against the Patriots come Super Bowl Sunday.
This is the Eagles' first trip to the Super Bowl since 2005. This is CBS News.
Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com.
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%, APR 4.36%. But choosing the right mortgage lender involves so much more than just a rate. We've earned 12 J.D. Power Awards for client satisfaction. And we invented Rocket Mortgage, a simpler, hassle-free way to get a mortgage completely online. So choose Quicken Loans, America's #1 online lender. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Food stamps help people. Why not pets?
More than 93,000 food stamp recipients have signed a petition to try to get their cats and dogs to qualify for government SNAP benefits, including Shayna Luttrell.
Do everything you can to keep your animals because they depend on you to take care of them.
Pam Weiss with the Nebraska Humane Society says separating owners and pets is a lose-lose.
It's traumatic for a pet to leave their person, to come to a shelter. It's expensive for us to process an animal all the way through the system and to get it back out. So if we can keep that pet with their person, it's better for the person. It's definitely better for the pet.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
A Florida deputy tried a little sweet talk to get a horse off a busy road in Pasco County. Corporal Art Madden was caught on video rolling his window down and asking the animal to please stop. He also made kissing noises, but the horse kept going. When the mare finally stopped, he threw his arms around her neck, and the owner then came and took her home. Pam Coulter, CBS News.
Traffic, the Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
An axe-wielding burglar is wanted in Sale Creek. He's accused of stealing from the County Mart convenience store at 3 a.m. yesterday morning. Surveillance video captured frames of the man wielding an axe, rooting through the store, and stealing several $1,000s worth of cigarettes while dealing several $1,000s worth of damage. Hamilton County Sheriff's Office trying to track him down. After the brawl that broke out on Saturday, the TSSAA made the decision to suspend both the Brainerd and Austin East boys basketball teams for the remainder of the season. Darian Battle from Austin is accused of punching Jalen Woodford. Charges may be filed, and one student had to be hospitalized. Home in Harrison, a total loss. A blaze on Morning Glory Road broke out early in the morning, costing about $100,000, according to Fire Chief Harris. He said the home is completely destroyed. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7. Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. Pairings have been announced for the 2018 State Dual Wrestling Tournament, which will begin Friday afternoon at the spacious Williamson County Agricultural Exposition Center in Franklin. 6 teams from the Chattanooga area will be battling for top honors. Cleveland and Soddy Daisy are among the 16 AAA teams, while Signal Mountain and Hickson are among 8 Class A and AA teams battling for first place. McCauley and Baylor are the 2 entries in the Division II contest. Dalton State's Cornelius Simmons was named the SSAC Men's Basketball Player of the Week. The senior forward from Atlanta has been averaging 21 points with 12 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and 2 steals per game in his contest for Dalton State. Chattanooga Mocs men's and women's basketball teams will be preparing for their matchup coming up on Thursday against Western Carolina. The UTC Mocs won in double overtime over UNCG. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Light cold, highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM. Nooga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree? Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. Watch with Keon Rose. So for those of you hanging around after listening to Sport Talk with Sam Jordan, thanks. And for those of you joining me right now, the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 52. It's this week. I'm excited. And you know what I'm excited for the most about the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl. I'll never understand people who watch the Super Bowl for commercials. I don't get them. I try. I just don't. Right? Not my fault. I just don't understand you. There is no other program on television that I would watch to watch the ads. And I understand that Super Bowl ads, because of the number of people that are watching and that football is America's religion. And look, I get it. There's so many eyeballs watching. If you're an advertiser and you have the money, you put an ad in the Super Bowl. And you don't just put any ad in the Super Bowl. You've got to put one that people remember. You have to. So I get it. The Super Bowl naturally produces great commercials. But a great commercial is still a commercial. I don't like commercials. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I've just been programmed from years of watching sports. I don't like commercials. I hide from commercials. And I end up watching all the Super Bowl commercials anyway because they run for the rest of the year. The Super Bowl is not the last time that these things happen. Right? They continue to happen. So it's not a special thing for me. I don't really like commercials, so I don't really go out looking for them. If I didn't like football, I wouldn't watch the Super Bowl. I like the football part of the football, so that's why I watch it, right? Like, not even the halftime show, even though we've gotten some great halftime shows, right? Like the Beyonce one from a few years ago, that one was pretty great. I like the Prince one, right? Like, Purple Rain's a great song. Bruno Mars, I think, had a great one 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Lady Gaga's wasn't bad last year. Like, I like the halftime shows. I just don't watch the Super Bowl for the halftime shows. Again, it's one of those things. I wouldn't watch it if it wasn't something I was already watching. People who watch the Super Bowl just for the commercials, I don't get you. And you people always wind up the most disappointed of everybody. Of everybody. Because if I got $100 for every year that I've heard after the Super Bowl, well, the ads, they weren't as funny this year. They weren't as funny as they used to be. Like, if I had $100 for every time someone said that, I'd have at least $5,000. It's amazing. You watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, and then you are ultimately disappointed by the commercials in the Super Bowl, which is inevitable, by the way. You can't help it. So I don't know how this is going to go down. I just watch the football for the football. Like, that's what it's always been for me. I don't understand anybody else who watches the Super Bowl for literally any other reason. I don't get it. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose on all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. So I wonder how many, if the Super Bowl has low ratings, I wonder how many people are going to blame the low ratings on kneeling football players and not the fact that one of the teams has a backup quarterback starting in the game. Right? That Nick Foles is not only not at all a household commodity, but at the beginning of this season, he wasn't even starting. Because I feel like that's going to play with the ratings. Like, if the Patriots jump out early in this game and the Eagles don't look like they're in it, this Super Bowl is going to be bad. Right? It's going to be terrible ratings-wise because everyone's going to check out watching the Patriots win again. The only reason why this game has any drama at all is Tom Brady could lose, and people like that. That's the storyline that they want. I hope Tom Brady wins. I hope the Patriots win. Why? Because I hate the Eagles. That's why. I'm a Redskins fan. This is what I do. I hate the Eagles. I hate the Eagles a lot, but the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl, and nothing brings me more joy than that fact. I wake up in the morning and I jump out of bed because the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl. What am I supposed to do if they win? See, that's what it is. Y'all are being selfish. Nobody's thinking about me and my problems. Exactly. So let's shift gears here to the NBA. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio and NoogaRadio.com. Clutch with Keon Rose here on 92.7 FM. Let's jump to the NBA because the NBA has a lot of news going on in it. And I feel like we're late enough at night that I could just jump into the NBA. I tried to keep the NBA talk to a minimum until after the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl, look, I can't promise you anything, but the NBA has gotten fairly ridiculous. For instance, the Clippers have traded Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons, right? Which I think is fascinating as a prospect. Now, on the Clippers side of it, Jerry West is running the show. And we've got a call coming in. Caller, you're on the air.
No, nobody cares about the NBA. And because of that, I'm going to root for the Eagles. I was not going to watch the Super Bowl, but since I'm from Philadelphia, I am, because I'm not really into football that much, but now, I'm kind of boycotting the NFL. But I'm going to specifically watch the Eagles and root for them. And because of that, Keon, they're going to win. They're going to destroy the Patriots. And those, what do they call the Redskins? That's a high school football team, isn't it?
I mean, there are high school teams called the Redskins, yes, but there are high school teams called the Patriots also.
No, they're a high school team, right? They're Washington, D.C. Eagles played them, don't they? The high school football team with the Redskins?
They have played the Redskins. Yeah. Look, I'm not saying the Eagles aren't good. They're just not better than the Patriots. Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, look,
I'm just saying now you got me fired up to want the Eagles.
Fire up for your Eagles, but understand that you are going to play the GOAT, the greatest of all time. It's Tom Brady. Okay, no one's been to more Super Bowls. Nobody's won more than him at the quarterback position. I mean, it's just a fact.
I just want to see them turn over police cars and stuff after the game in Philadelphia, because they're going to do that.
Well, they won the NFC. They won the NFC title game to get to the Super Bowl, and they were already turning over cars then. So maybe.
Oh, this is going to be really good. They're going to light so many fires if they win. You'll be able to see it from the International Space Station.
Listen, it's a thing where it's going to be a party in Philadelphia. I think they're going to light cars on fire if they win. I think they're going to light cars on fire if they lose. The result doesn't really matter here.
And you do realize, how Philadelphia fans are. They're going to hate them either way.
Yeah, basically. We're talking about a group of people who booed Santa off the field.
Come on, isn't it time that the Patriots lose? Enough's enough.
Enough's enough. And look, I would root against the Patriots if anybody else made it. I just can't because I don't like the Eagles.
Why? Why don't you like the Eagles? What is this? Talk to Dr. Mike here.
All right, Dr. Mike. Let me give it to you.
About the Eagles that you don't like. Come on.
Well, their colors are the wonderful colors of throw up green, but mostly they are the divisional rival of my team. We play them 2 times a year, and there's a whole lot of animosity there. I've been rooting against that football team my entire life. And
they're environmentalist great. I know that because my dad was a Redskins fan, and he hated the Eagles.
Your dad was a smart man.
He did. I don't know what it is with Redskins. He hated the Eagles.
We're rivals, man. You play someone 2 times a year, every year, forever. You hate them. Like, you just learn to hate them, and they learn to hate you.
How can you be from Philadelphia and hate the Eagles?
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
I tortured my dad for many years. Back in the old days, they would have phones that would ring, the old dial phones and touch tones. And I would watch the game and wait just before the Eagles scored and push the last digit. And as they scored, phone would ring. His phone would ring. And it would totally infuriate him. And he tried to take it off the hook. My mom wouldn't let him. And for years, he blamed my brother.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lo and behold, I finally confessed to doing it. But you wouldn't believe how many Philadelphians don't like the Eagles and they like the Redskins. You'd be shocked.
Well, that's the thing is they're not I don't know, I think other Eagles fans make it so that you can't like the Eagles, right? Like there's a certain subset of Eagles fans that are so ridiculous and so awful in how they act and behave, and they're drunk. And I don't know if you saw the YouTube video going around of just Eagles fans going crazy in the subway tunnel, and some guy ran into the subway while it was moving. And it was just like, I mean, those people make it harder for any casual fans to actually like the Eagles on a casual level.
Well, I think the problem with the Eagles is they're chokers.
That too.
Been chokers all for as long as 40, 50 years that I know them. They're just chokers. No matter who's coaching them, who's playing, they're chokers. They just choke. I think maybe that's where the hate comes in. All right, listen, I'll be rooting for the Eagles. Go Eagles. And you got me to watch the game, so there you go.
Well, there you go. The storylines are there. Okay, this is going to be, for one reason or another, right? I think that the reason that this game could potentially be interesting is because you've got the David and Goliath situation, which is always the way it feels with the Patriots, right? Like, when was the last time the Patriots were in the Super Bowl and they weren't Goliath? I mean, that had to be their first one, right? Because they've been Goliath ever since. I think when they played the Seahawks 3 years ago, that was pretty equal. I think that we all felt like Seattle had a good chance to win that game, and they did. They threw it away at the end. But other than that, I can't think of a single time the Patriots have not walked into a Super Bowl overwhelmingly Goliath. But here's the thing, though. The Eagles are really good, right? And one thing where they don't get enough credit is on the defensive side of the ball, how good they have actually been at getting to the quarterback and beating up the quarterback. And what do we know about beating the Patriots? Like, what does it actually take to beat that football team? It takes getting your hands on Tom Brady, right? It takes getting Tom Brady and making his jersey look a little bit green before halftime. You get it so that he's wearing a little bit of the turf on his jersey. Maybe he's got some grass sticking out of his face mask. Beat him up. Because as great as Brady is, I think his big weakness is he doesn't like to be hit. And no quarterback likes to be hit. But he particularly does not like being hit. In a way that, Ben Roethlisberger, he can get hit. He can keep going. He can take it. You look at some guys around the league. Phillip Rivers can take some shots. Not Brady. It's not his game. When he's pristine, if he starts the game and the jersey's white and he ends the game and the jersey's white, Patriots win. If he starts the game and the jersey's white, he ends the game and the jersey's got grass on it, it's a little green, it's got some mud, some brown on there. I don't know about that one. And I think the Eagles are really good. Like, they're designed to get after the quarterback, man. They're designed for that. And I like Derek Barnett out of the University of Tennessee. I love that guy. I mean, Derek Barnett is a monster. Is an absolute beast. And yeah, he was a big part of the reason why they just leveled the Vikings the way they did in the NFC title game. He ripped through. He ripped through that offensive line that Minnesota had. Minnesota's offensive line is good. That's not a slouch team. So yeah, I'm really interested in the nature of this Super Bowl, and I'm interested in all the ways that it can go. For sure. It's an interesting game. You're going to actually want to watch it for more than the commercials. That's for sure. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio, NoogaRadio.com. Make sure to check us out there. 92.7 FM. Clutch with Keon Rose. It's funny because when I had Mike on the line there, Mike was talking about how nobody cares about the NBA, even though people under the age of 30 prefer the NBA to the NFL. And if you want to talk about one of the reasons for declining NFL ratings, that is one. People under the age of 30 are not watching football on Sunday like they used to. And I don't know what the NFL is going to do about that. I would say make the rules less stupid. That's one, because the rules are dumb. The catch rule is the dumbest rule, and nobody wants to have to sit down with a friend of theirs who maybe hasn't watched a ton of football and have to explain every play of a drive to the end zone. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody should have to do that. The problem is the rules of the game of football are no longer obvious. I've been a fan of the game for years. I don't know what a catch is anymore. I have no clue. It used to be obvious. It's not. And they've made it that way. The rules of the game, they've made it so complicated. They need to dumb this down a little bit for everybody. I feel like the referees don't even know what a catch is anymore. Right? Because we saw that game with the Steelers and the Patriots. Right? I forget the name of the guy that caught the ball and put the ball across the end zone. But that's not a catch or a touchdown. It was neither. I thought, well, if they don't give him the touchdown, that's at least a catch. Nope. Incomplete pass. Right? People are just losing faith in the game of football itself. It's starting to make less sense. Basketball's still pretty straightforward. I have the ball. If I put the ball in the hoop, I get points. That's pretty easy. If you pick it up, you can't dribble anymore. Pass it or shoot it. I mean, it's not hard. It's not a hard game. It's not complicated. So the Clippers have sent Blake Griffin to the Detroit Pistons, and I'm interested in everything around this, in large part because, well, I don't know what this means for the Pistons. I cannot guarantee you that they've actually gotten to be a better team as a result of this trade. It is a risk, but you're getting a star, right? And that's largely what it is for a team like this. You've got stars. And if you have more stars in the NBA, typically, though not always, but typically you win. And so, yeah, you're the Pistons, you're trying to stockpile stars. Now, I think the Pistons need a guard, right? You need someone who really handles the basketball. And Blake Griffin can do it a little bit, but come on, he's not the guy that's bringing it up every time. And so I don't know how that helps the Pistons to be better. But I think from the Clippers' perspective, this is a very interesting thing because Jerry West is the man who has built a number of basketball teams, right? Like Jerry West built the Lakers team that became a dynasty in the 2000s. Jerry West then built the Golden State Warriors, or had a very large hand in building the Golden State Warriors. And now Jerry West is with the Clippers attempting to build the Los Angeles Clippers. And when do we decide at some point that we're going to make Jerry West the patron saint of basketball? He's a patron saint of basketball because Jerry West can build any team in any era. Okay? The way that basketball was played in 2000 and 2001, when the Lakers were starting to become a dominant force in the NBA, is different than the way that the Warriors are winning titles now. He's been able to be adaptable. He understands the game. Jerry Weston is an amazing guy. And by the way, my favorite athlete ever, Jerry West. And partially as an athlete, but partially as a person. Like when you hear Jerry West talk, you hear how thoughtful he is and how smart he is. That guy's got a gigantic IQ, I bet. He feels it, the way to hear him talk, it sounds like he steps ahead of everybody. And so the fact that Jerry West has traded Blake Griffin means that Jerry West knows something that the rest of us don't know, which I think that Jerry West is going to try and see if he can get a major star that's more versatile than Blake Griffin, right? Now, the word on the street, the scuttlebutt around the league is that Jerry West is going after LeBron, which is not, by the way, out of the realm of possibility. Right? Because the Lakers are still logjammed with bad contracts. And people believe that LeBron's going to the Lakers and he wants to be Showtime and there's Magic Johnson. And it would be a good fit for LeBron branding-wise. But I think as long as LeBron winds up in LA, it's going to be a good fit for him branding-wise. He's blanking LeBron James. He can make Cleveland look like a city you want to live in. And Cleveland is not a city you want to live in. So why can't he do that with the Clippers? I mean, like once he's already in LA, does it matter which LA team? Like, no, it doesn't actually. So yeah, I think that LeBron James to the Clippers, not that far-fetched. But Jerry West is a man with not just a plan, but a backup plan. And Jerry West has got in his back pocket Anthony Davis. Now, I actually think that Jerry West, I think it would be wise to just go after Anthony Davis right off the rip, because I think that basketball team is built to add Anthony Davis on top of it in a way that adding LeBron, I think you have to change a whole lot of stuff to suit LeBron. Like, LeBron's at the point in his career, you cater to LeBron when he shows up. I don't think you're at that point with Anthony Davis just yet. You can still try and be the guy that's the master tinkerer behind the scenes if you get an Anthony Davis. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio and NoogaRadio.com, 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose. I'm going to tell you why it is that it feels like God hates me. Next.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
An axe-wielding burglar wanted in Sale Creek. The County Mart convenience store was ransacked at 3 a.m. yesterday morning. And
news and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
An axe-wielding burglar wanted in Sale Creek. The County Mart convenience store was ransacked at 3 a.m. yesterday morning, and the police need your help tracking down the burglar. Surveillance video captured frames of the man wielding an axe, rooting through the store and stealing several $1,000s worth of cigarettes while dealing thousands more in damage. If you have any info, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office would like you to call. Daylight savings forever? State Representative Rick Tulis, whose district includes parts of Marion and Franklin counties, has introduced a bill to make daylight savings time permanent in Tennessee. If the bill is passed, Tennessee would never go back an hour again. The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nooga Radio. That's The Sean Hannity Show, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Nooga Radio. Val St. John, Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7, News Now.
Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now. Pairings have been announced for the 2018 State Dual Wrestling Tournament, which will begin Friday afternoon at the spacious Williamson County Agricultural Exposition Center in Franklin. 6 teams from the Chattanooga area will be battling for top honors. Cleveland and Soddy Daisy are among the 16 AAA teams, while Signal Mountain and Hickson are among 8 Class A and AA teams battling for first place. McCauley and Baylor are the 2 entries in the Division II contest. Golden State's Cornelius Simmons was named the SSAC Men's Basketball Player of the Week. The senior forward from Atlanta has been averaging 21 points with 12 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, and 2 steals per game in his contest for Dalton State. Chattanooga Mocs men's and women's basketball teams will be preparing for their matchup coming up on Thursday against Western Carolina. The UTC Mocs won in double overtime over UNCG. Sam Jordan, News Talk 92.7 Sports Now.
Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows 22 to 25. For Wednesday, after a frosty start, lots of sunshine, a little warmer for the afternoon, highs lower to middle 50s. Increasing clouds Wednesday night with showers returning from the west on Thursday. The night skiing is still good at Cloudmont Ski Resort. Come on down to Mentone, Alabama to Cloudmont, just a short drive away. Great winter fun for the whole family. For details and conditions, cloudmont.com. And I'm Sorgene 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
The Tennessee Valley's news talk leader. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Well, there have been credible media reports that the Little Rock field office is actually investigating elements of bribery and corruption with the Clinton Foundation, particularly as it relates to uranium sales that may not have been in our nation's interest. And I think that should really worry Hillary Clinton and some of the people who were paying money for influence within the Clinton world, because this is not going to be a politically predetermined outcome made by a bunch of political bureaucrats.